We are 5 librarians at the Howe Library in Hanover, New Hampshire, and we are conducting a little bit of an experiment for your entertainment. First, we'll introduce ourselves. My name is Jared.
I'm Megan.
I'm Rachel.
Peter.
And I'm Mike.
And what we're going to do here today, we have all named 3 of our very favorite, most beloved books. And then another one of us has been assigned to look up really terrible reviews, mostly on Amazon, of the books we love. And we will be texting or emailing these very bad reviews to one another in real time, and then reading the terrible reviews of the books we love. Does that more or less capture it?
Yeah. And we stole this idea from other librarians, so thank you, other librarians.
We borrowed this idea from other librarians.
Borrowed.
Thank you, other librarians. And we'll just go in a circle.
Yes. So I'm going first, right?
You
Am I
are
reading?
going first,
Okay,
Megan.
and I'm just reading one book, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
That's right. One book's worth of reviews. Yeah.
Okay, so all of
Just
them.
name
Okay.
your book, and then we'll launch in from there.
Okay, so one of my favorite books is The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. So Mike sent me these. All right. Probably one of the most disjointed books I have ever read. A total waste of my time. Ready only because it was a selection of my book club friends. Ready only. Read only. And then my daughter said she wished there was a negative star. This book was way too busy.
A busy
Negative
book.
star.
I mean, there's like multiple characters, but it's all short stories. Whatever.
It's like in the movie Amadeus, where Mozart is told there's too many notes in his music.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Too busy a book. Too many words in that book.
Too many words in that book. Too many people. Oh, intergenerational bad, right? Like,
Oh.
Awesome.
that's all I got for Joy
Is that
Luck
yours?
Club.
All right. Okay. So let me check my text. I'm up next. Okay, so one of my books was Once Upon a River, and I'm reading, this is the most long-winded book I think I've ever read. It's been a long time since a book has given me feelings of dread every time I picked it up. Not every author and or book is for everyone, and this was certainly not my glass of chocolate milk. Oh, great.
Chocolate milk. Who knows?
Chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk.
That's what I think of when I'm reading a book, is like, this book is really my glass of chocolate milk. So are those all my Once Upon a River reviews?
That's just one of them.
Oh, I think we're doing all of the reviews for each book and then moving on.
Oh, shoot. Okay, hold on. I could have had that set up.
All right. Let's see what else we have. By the time I reached 75%, I was so exasperated I just didn't care anymore. I was so happy to reach the end of this book.
Okay, so you want your last one?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
I started out reading quite happily. Somehow, though, I started losing interest as there was much confusion, indecision, so many questions, odd statements, occurrences, people moving in and out of the picture, that it was not a pleasure to read. Just this going on and on about this and that, and not a reveal to even tease us through along the way. You know how a caterpillar has many legs, but is still not able to move very fast? That is this story. Much happening, but not going anywhere quickly. That is great. Chocolate milk and caterpillars. Oh, that is really good. I love the caterpillar metaphor.
Yeah, the caterpillar.
All right. Rachel, here are your 3.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so this is a book called Ahab's Wife, which I adored. I've read it many, many times. So slow and cumbersome, I could only get through a few chapters, so I have no idea what happens in this very long book. Oh boy. The book was an utter disappointment. The plot was impossible to believe, and many opportunities were missed to salvage the story. It was a struggle to finish the gigantic aggregation of disjointed bits of information.
Oh.
It's so sad. I don't know. A struggle. Okay. And then the last one is 1 star is generous.
1 star is generous.
All right. So people hate that book.
At least it wasn't a negative star, right?
Yeah, negative star.
That's true. It's doing well. Yeah.
Or 0 stars. Oh.
Who's up next?
All right, Mike, you are up.
Oh,
Yes. Okay. So, get my here. So my book was The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemison, and this is a review from that. Not good. 170 pages into this book, and I'm questioning how it has nearly 5 stars. I don't care for the awkward prose, characters, or concepts. I'm finishing the book out of a sense of obligation.
pretty
That
straightforward.
was the only one I had there. And Megan, I only gave you 2 per.
That's fine.
Yeah, so.
Okay, it's my turn then.
Yes, you're up.
Okay, so one of my favorite books was The North Water by Ian McGuire. And the first review, it looks like 1 star. I read somewhere that this is Jack London on steroids. I can agree with that, but then I think Jack London wrote silly masculinist fantasies, and I think this McGuire novel is simply a worse, more violent, more distasteful, more grotesque version of those same fantasies. I can agree with some of that, actually. There were some grotesque things.
Interesting.
Wow.
Wow.
Some strong words.
I could read another one here. Actually, this book seems primed for an HBO adaptation, and I mean that in an exhausted way.
That's great.
Let's see. There is a third I could read. 1 star. The good. The cover is stunning. Actually, all of the different covers are stunning. The bad, everything else. I usually don't mind violence, gore, or sexuality much. In this book, however, they felt absolutely gratuitous. Yes, a whaling ship full of men isn't all rainbows and unicorns, I understand that. But this book did nothing but sketch out revolting details in order to shock the reader.
It actually makes me want to read the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, sign me up. That sounds
Peter.
great.
Peter, what-
When I saw that one, I was like, oh, I have to
was a
include
good
that
one.
one.
That was
Rainbows
pretty
and
cool.
unicorns.
Oh.
I think we did that as a books and lunch book.
Yeah,
We did.
that was a books and lunch.
Thanks. All right, everybody.
Did any of us who led the meeting for that book group?
I think Peter might have.
How did people like it, Peter?
I think it was a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Half and half, maybe.
Yeah.
It was a while back.
Well, people had some tolerance for it then. That's great. All right, round 2. Megan, you're up.
Okay, so my other favorite book of all times that I read to my kid all the time is The Day the Crayons Quit. Oh boy. Okay. 90% of the book is the crayons complaining about how they hate coloring standard items. Blue for the ocean, red for Santa, pink never used because the owner is a boy, and pink just isn't for girls, etc. And then even with the central theme being embracing individuality and expression, 2 crayons comment on coloring within the lines. One complaining about the kid not coloring in the lines, then the next complimenting the boy for coloring within the lines. Way to contradict your own theme and message. And then emoji. Overall, had a really negative vibe and not fun / lighthearted like I thought it would be. Oh,
Oh,
Kids book with a negative vibe.
negative
are you
vibe.
having a bad day?
How often are you reading this to your kid, Megan?
Well, granted, it's usually the board book version because it's a little bit shorter, but like a few times a week.
Wow.
I can't say I agree with the. The complaining part. I mean, there's some complaining, but whatever. Life is full of complaining, right? Okay, anyway.
Get used to it, kid.
Get used to it, kid, right?
Even your crayons hate life.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the other one is, I bought the book in hopes that it would be clever or witty. It's neither. It's so witty. What are you talking about? This reads like a band of angry DMV employees wrote it. Oh my God. They even talk about their coworkers. I mean, really? Just skip it.
Oh.
Whatever.
How sad.
It's fun, and the sequels are like fun too. There's
Isn't
like
it amazing people can hate the books you love so much? What's happening?
I know, right?
Unbelievable.
All right. Is that all of yours, Megan? For
That's
that
all
one?
mine. Yep.
Okay. I'll look for my next title.
Okay. This one is really long, so feel free to just read the first part if you want. I don't know. It's all pretty funny, but.
Okay. Remind me which book this is.
Wittgenstein's Mistress.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
Right?
Wittgenstein's Mistress.
Thank you.
This book is seriously avant-garde. I should preface this by saying, so I will not be surprised by anything I read. Oh, man. Beaten senseless by the author's large brains, I slumped to the ground. When I awoke, I found rats had eaten the rest of the book, and they had all died with uncanny expressions of horror on their little furry faces. I wasn't disappointed. This novel was a little too avant for my guard. Is there a negative 3 stars rating? If this was the last book on Earth and destroying it would mean that future generations would be illiterate, I would destroy it and save all those unborn children the senseless pain of attempting to take any point away from the author's vulgar display of hoity-toity, I know all about art and Greek mythology, so I'm going to talk about it but mix it up just enough for you to buy that. Buy that I know so much more about it than you, that you must be stupid. And it's sad. It's so sad because some of the sentences and thoughts are so beautiful, stunning, but all that literary genius is lost in the fog of endless running on about nothing. Yes, I'm yelling. This is one of those instances where yelling is warranted. Here is a list of things about this book that I hate. 1, it was written. 2, it had no chapters. 3, it constantly repeated itself. 4, it has no resolution, or possibly it had no resolution until the last 10 pages, which I didn't read because I was completely disgusted and mentally fatigued from the constant struggle to find meaning, any meaning, and the rambling, self-gratifying nonsense. It had no point other than to make the author feel superior to his readership and to make me angry enough to intentionally stop reading with only 10 pages to go, because I didn't want the author to have the satisfaction of making me read the whole thing without ever making a point of any kind. Wow.
Wow. Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah, right. That may take the prize for like worst, best, bad review I've ever read. Oh, man.
So that actually is the only review I have of that one in my document. So
that is all you need.
Because it was long.
That is like an epic bad review.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
That is great. I hear where they're coming from. It's not easygoing. This is not a standard work of fiction. It challenges one in every possible way. I still love it, but I get it. All right. Rachel, right? Yep. You're up, Rachel. I just texted it.
Okay, so this is Slade House, which was a very strange book. What did they say? So then we had to go through another round of boring stories before we ended up in the same place to listen to another villainous conversation and get another clue and more foreshadowing. By the 3rd round, you just want your soul to be eaten and ended once and for all. The central idea was just dumb, dumb, dumb. Impossibly dumb. It has bothered me since I finished. I'm sorry I wasted the last sunny day for a week to spend trying to figure this story out. You can't figure it out. There's nothing to figure. Ugh. Disconnected, simplistic, unintelligible tripe.
Oof.
Oof. Wow. It is a hard book to read. It took me like 3 times to get through it. So yeah. So I kind of do get that review, but It wasn't dumb, 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 I don't think. Anyway.
And there's
I
some
mean, one
angry
thing to make you
reviews
feel
out
better, if one's ever tried writing anything, then if David Mitchell, who's stunning, gets reviews like that, it makes you feel a little bit better about what you produce, right?
Someone will hate it. Many people will love it.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, Mike,
Am I up?
you're up.
Okay. My next book was Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders.
Oh, that should get them good ones.
Yeah. First couple of pages were wonderful, then it turned into an experience similar to reading comments associated with random Twitter feeds.
That was the only
I get
one.
what they're talking about, but also kind of a hard book. I'll like give people some leeway on that one. I had to start it over again like 2 times. Like, okay, I finally get this now, and then once you get it, it's good. Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Right. That was the only one for that one, right?
Yep.
All right. Let's see. I guess I'm up again. So I chose for one of my favorite books, The Accidental Tourist by Ann Tyler. And this reviewer said, 1 star. Let's see. More than anything else, my problem with this book is that nothing happened. I kept thinking that possibly in the next chapter, Macon would act in some way to change his own destiny, but nope. Nothing even happened in the end. The book just seemed to stop. Okay. That's
That
one
does not
review.
sound like a satisfying reading experience.
The next one says, I cannot say this one floated my boat. The characters were insipid and generally unlikable. The storyline was all but invisible. I have other books by this author on my TBR. I surely hope they are an improvement on this one. Alrighty. And let's see. There's a third one here for that book. I just can't finish this one. Macon is one of the most boring, unrelatable characters I think I've ever come across. The book is moving slower than a snail on sandpaper. I can't believe this book was actually made into a movie. Yawn. So they have a long yawn at the end.
Oh, that's great. A snail on sandpaper. That's right up there with the caterpillar metaphor.
The caterpillar. It doesn't go
Are
anywhere.
snails slower on sandpaper? Does anyone actually know this? For a
I
fact?
don't know.
Or do they just shrivel up and die? Which could also be a good metaphor for a really bad book if you happen not to like it.
Shrivel up and die. I want to shrivel up and die.
I want to shrivel up and die like a snail on sandpaper. I have to say, some of these involve some pretty great creative writing. That's really good.
People spend a lot of energy writing really long reviews about books they hate. You know, I can see
Long, angry reviews. Yeah, they really invest their soul in these things. You gotta have some respect for it, actually.
Yeah.
Kind of makes you wonder what their 5-star reviews are like, right?
Yeah, actually. If only you could read like associated 5-star reviews. Maybe you can. I've never checked that out.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it could be.
So my last book is We Band of Angels, and the subtitle is The Untold Story of the American Woman Trapped on Bataan. And it's
Can I stop you for a second, Megan?
Sure.
First of all, this one was hard to find bad reviews of.
Oh, was it?
People liked it because it's like women persevering. You can't write a bad review about that. You sound like a jerk. So
You come off as a total jerk if you don't approve of it.
you're like, these women are idiots. You know, you can't do that. Anyhow.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
you shouldn't really mess with prisoners of war. That's true, right?
The second review is brief, but you can add that it was a 1-star review. I thought it was kind of funny in a way, but anyhow, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, no, it's fine. That's good to know. So the first one is, I didn't hate this book, but it bored me. I had never heard of the nurses trapped in Bataan, so I came into this with no knowledge of anything. I did learn a lot, and it's a very interesting story. I just felt like the writing wasn't all that great. I felt like I was reading a textbook and not a nonfiction story. As a history major, I will say it was totally not academic and boring because I've read that. And then the last one is my book club is reading it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's the whole review?
That's it. My book club is reading.
Just 1 star. My book club is reading.
My book club is reading.
No.
Sometimes that does say it all.
You didn't pick the book, did you?
Right.
Okay, fair enough.
Exactly.
You gotta read into that one a little bit. But there weren't a lot of bad reviews. I went on to Amazon, there was like very little. And then I went on to Goodreads to kind of see if there's anything there too. So yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Or maybe no one's really read it too. I don't know, right? I mean, it could be a little of both.
I hadn't heard of it, so I don't know.
That was new to me. Yeah.
I'm a history nerd. What can I say?
Yeah.
It's one of the things we love about you, Megan.
Yes.
All right, so my last book is Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott, which is a great kind of down-to-earth, gritty guide to writing. And we have Lamott's overwrought prose style made me think of Anne Rice for some reason. Perhaps it's just because they're both called Anne. That really doesn't seem fair. It's good to know that people are using like finely tuned critical apparatus for writing these reviews. Oh man, Lamott makes writing sound like passing a kidney stone.
Whoa.
Wow, well, it can be actually. It can be. And finally, it seems like Lamott thinks she can make any personal experience into a piece of writing worth sharing with the world. I found her reflection on her life to be sentimental, overly precious, and got the sense she is a very insecure and self-obsessed woman whose unhappiness with herself prevents her from being happy for her friends. And because of this, I found it hard to learn anything from her experience. I found her thought processes to be indulgent and unhealthy. Interesting. I like the kidney stone line. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that one. I think that was there was more to that review. I did just take out one line because that was just the best one.
That was the best one. Yes.
Yeah. So my next book is The Overstory, which I just read recently and like absolutely adored this book. So the first review says this book is not only not well written, it's pedantic, boring, and the characters are both flat and unlikable. All right. Second one, and the writing, my God, you can tell this guy is just totally in love with himself. It's exhausting. The book is crazy pretentious with almost no storyline. I couldn't even finish it. Wow. I think pretentious is like the last word I would use for that book. I don't know. It's about trees. It's like writing about refugees. You can't say bad things about trees.
That's true. It's a protected category.
It is. It is. The language is so beautiful too in this book. Okay. A slick, sitcom-y, Joss Whedon-style mode of speech that destroys what is an otherwise contemplative novel about trees. I was so repulsed by this aspect of the writing, I stopped reading.
That's how you criticize a book about trees, is you criticize the writing style, I guess.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out how a Josh Whedon style comes up in a book. I don't.
No, and I've actually started this book myself, and that is the last style I would associate with this book.
Yeah.
Slick and Joss Whedon-y. I don't even know what that means, first of all. And second of all, I would not associate it with this book at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, those reviews are really weird. It's like they didn't read the same book. Review for the wrong book. Wow, that's really interesting though.
Yikes.
Yikes.
All right, am I up?
You're up.
I picked this book because I knew it would have bad reviews. I liked it when I read it, but the main character was extremely unlikable. So I was like, well, this is ripe for some bad reviews. And I know people have liked it, but I also am like, oh, I know there's some haters out there pretty big time. So I'll read the first one, and then I quick looked up another one, and I'll read that one. So this is The Love Affairs of Nathaniel P. by Adele Waldman. I read 10% of this book. It is boring and pretentious. I cannot believe I wasted my time reading 10% of this book. I did scan through to see if it improved at any point. It did not. And then I found quick found a 1-star Amazon review. This book made me ill.
Yeah, that was the whole review.
That says it all.
Yeah, that's it there.
All right, I guess I'm up here. Let's see. So one of my favorite books that I picked, After Dark by Murakami. And let's see, one of the reviews. Another highly acclaimed book, which I found downright boring. I barely managed to scrap through its 201 pages. Sometimes I feel that the author would be quite pleased with himself for writing such vague stuff that is eagerly lapped up by the critics and reviewers. Oh, not bad. All right. Let's see. And there's a couple other reviews for this one. This is an odd thing to say about fiction, but ... It seemed like Murakami was making it up as he went along. There we go. Is that a bad thing? I'm not sure. Okay, and let's see, the last one here. It was nice to see Murakami writing from a female perspective, but this ultimately read like someone else trying too hard to imitate Murakami and not doing a terrific job. And the chapters about the comatose sister, meh. These are some pretty bad reviews. Maybe we should rate the best bad review, right?
Yeah, right. Or we could write bad reviews of the bad review, or good reviews of the bad reviews, and then swap those out.
Great bad review. That was a great bad review.
Epically bad reviews there.
Yeah.
Pretty great. I mean, from snails to caterpillars to chocolate milk to kidney stones.
Yeah.
Covered a lot of ground. Oh.
The angry DMV employees.
Right, yeah.
Angry DM.
Negative stars, negative star rating.
Stars.
Yeah, -1 and -3. I mean, -3, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Strong opinion.
I think that was our worst rating.
Yes.
Yes.
So have any of these reviews changed anyone's mind about the books they read and they love?
No, but I get like the Lincoln and the Bardo one.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
That one was weird.
Yeah. No, and I get it for Wittgenstein's Mistress. I totally get it. I still love it, but I get it.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I just felt like when I was reading that, I was like, I've never read anything like this before. This is so weird. I was so like enraptured with just the weirdness of it that I was just kind of in it. But if somebody, like, if you were in a wrong mood or something, man, that wouldn't hit you right.
Yeah. Yeah, the bad reviews can almost write themselves for that book.
Yeah, right.
That is like you were enraptured. I mean, that's pretty fantastic, right? You set that against a lot of bad reviews.
Yeah.
Enraptured.
I'm amazed at the people who spend a lot of time or finish books that they hate. They're like, I hated it. I hoped it would get better. I stuck with it out of a sense of obligation. It's like, and then they take the time to write a bad review of it too. It's like they're spending a lot of time on a book that they really hate. It's like,
true, actually.
you know?
I feel like there's a whole generation who really think when you start a book you should finish it or something. I remember kind of getting that feeling handed down from on high.
It'll get better.
Yeah, and then eventually realizing you could stop reading a book.
Don't have to finish it.
Such a liberating feeling.
Yeah.
And you have to respect the commitment of these people, not only finishing books they hate, but then writing a review of it. It's starting to make me feel a little bit like a slacker, actually, because if I don't like a book, I just stop, and I definitely don't go and compose a very thoughtful, angry review about it. So
Yeah.
I clearly need to up my game here.
Maybe they feel like they're doing good, you know? Don't anyone else read this. Here.
It never got better.
Protect the rest of the
Rest of the world. Like,
public.
I told you.
you're trying to prevent suffering.
Yes, exactly.
Hero.
They're doing God's work here.
The internet.
Heroes of the internet.
Oh. Well, that turned out to be hugely fun, actually.
Yeah.
That was pretty
I know, it almost seemed like homework for a second, and then I went reading reviews. I'm like, oh, this is pretty fun.
Well, I guess we should wrap up by saying thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed this as well, and goodbye.
Yay. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for watching.